In 1974, we moved to Memphis, Tennessee. My dad had just gotten a new job there, and of course, being a good Christian family, we had to find a church home. We visited several and chose one that ended up to be a fantastic church. Had a great children's program. The RA department was great. The Sunday school teachers were wonderful. It was also a big church, which was a new experience for me. They even had the best Halloween haunted house. I guess this was before Halloween became evil. And the preacher was not one of these hellfire damnation kind of preachers. He gave practical teaching that would help you in your life. And even as a 9 and 10-year-old, I got something out of it. But I also always wondered why we were driving halfway across town when there was a perfectly good church 2 blocks away from our house. We never visited there, and I wondered why. So one day, my dad and I were driving past that church, and I said, "Dad, why didn't we ever visit that church?" He said, "Oh, that's simple, Steve. They're Free Will Baptist. We're Baptist." I said, "Well, what's free will?" Dad goes on to explain how God gave us the choice between good and evil, to choose God or the ways of the world, choose sin or righteousness. I said, "Well, don't we believe that?" He said, "Oh, yeah, we believe that. But they wash feet." They wash feet? Oh my God. That's the reason that we never went there? Whether my dad realized it or not, he created an other for me. Even to this day, when I hear that somebody's Free Will Baptist, there's something in the back of my mind that says, I wonder what's wrong with them. Shoot, they wash feet. Another experience happened in Memphis is school. Up to this point, I'd had very little dealings with people of color. And Memphis, I think a couple years prior to this, had gone through a desegregation ruling, and they did forced busing. And the school that I went to was in a predominantly, if not all white neighborhood, but the school was predominantly black. Obviously, all the white parents had pulled their kids out and put them in private school. My parents had threatened to do that, but luckily they didn't have the money to do it, because I really did not want to wear one of those school uniforms. But I was also scared of being one of the few white children in the school. I think in my 4th grade there were 4 classes, and in those 4 classes there were a total of 5 white children. In my class there was 1 other white girl and then me, and then another class there was a white boy and 2 white girls, and I think the other 2 classes were all African American. And I was scared by this. I was scared of the other. So I talked to my dad about this, and I said, "Dad, this is a frightening situation going to this school." He said, "Well, son, I got an easy solution for you. At recess tomorrow, pick out the biggest black kid on the playground and go bop him right in the nose. Now, he may hurt you, but I guarantee you, if you take on the biggest black kid, no other kid in that school will take you on." So I did that. Stupid advice, but I did it anyway. So at recess the next day, I went and I picked out the biggest black kid on the playground, and I went and I bopped him right in the nose, and we started in on a fight. And luckily, before he completely destroyed me, the teachers pulled us apart. We were both sent to the principal's office, and we were both punished. The punishment that we had is that we had to hold hands wherever we went to. If we were going to the lunchroom, we had to hold hands going to the lunchroom. At recess, we had to hold hands and walk around the baseball field the whole time of recess. Through that experience, I ended up becoming friends with him. And then one day he just said, "Steve, why did you hit me?" And I told him about I was afraid. He said, "Steve, from here on out, you don't ever have to be afraid again. I got your back." I think that's the root of most of our others that we create. It's fear. We fear the unknown. We fear being wrong. The reason the narrative Baptist good and Free Will Baptists are bad is because we fear that maybe the Free Will Baptists are right. The reason we create these others is just ignorance. So I challenge you, especially if you're a Christian, in reading the stories of Jesus, the parables of Jesus, put those in a modern context. And then you can get the power of what Jesus was trying to do to transform our lives. For instance, the story of the Good Samaritan. If you're a white male Christian, evangelical, conservative, why don't you put a black atheist, transgender woman as the hero of the story? And then you'll get the power of what Jesus was trying to teach us. The other doesn't exist. We're all in this together. And if we realize that, we can create a better world. See you next time.